Her job was to grab him by the back of the head and beat his head into the counter. Well, the counter turned out to be a little bit off like this, and he was using his hands to block himself as he hit, and he missed it once and hit him in the eye, and the scene was she lets him go, and he flies back and lands on the ground off camera. And so he did that, and we're all laughing hysterically, and we're like, great, perfect, cut. And then I hear him off camera go, I'm bleeding.
Oh, shit.
And he's like, don't turn the camera off. Come get this. This is good production value. And he pretends to be dead. And I'm like recording it. And there's like blood all over his face. So it's in the video.
Welcome back for the third time, Knox.
Oh, you thinking what I'm thinking?
Oh, that looks good.
Come on, yeah.
Can I get one?
I'm not sure why you wanna have sex with me.
Very Italian.
He died and then he went to the
It was like a stump somewhere.
They should listen.
Yeah, play ball.
It could be yours. Just
Only for anything sexualized, they deem as sexualized or violence. So those are things that things that you're saying that aren't true. They're starting to do that. But as far as, we're usually dinged on, what is it they say? We recently had to get our fight for our channel back because they said that too many of our videos were encouraging sexual gratification or something. Like the way they word it is so stupid.
Basically, people are jerking off to your videos.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. And I'm like,
encouraging sexual gratification.
we just make the videos. What people do with them is not our business.
Since when was that even a problem?
People jerk off to anything, man.
Exactly.
So we're making people happy. Like,
Right.
what's the problem?
How is that right? And it's so ridiculous because then they'll and then they don't tell you which videos, so you have to just
guess,
figure it out.
yeah.
And so I had to go through and just manually guess. Well, I suppose this one shows a little more skin than the next one.
And
so
it
delete
depends
that
on
one.
which one, like which person or bot or whatever is behind it, because like one of our videos got dinged and there was nothing sexual about it, but she laid on top of him, and that was enough for them to be
that was actually the last straw for them. Why they tried pulling our channel was because, and it was Matt and Kate. They did a video because they were always good about doing the ones that were like whatever, and so she was fully clothed, but it was a scene where they went into the bedroom and things were getting hot and heavy, but she so she lays on him and then something happens and she gets off him right away. But that 1 second of footage of her laying on top of him freaked them the frick out.
Wow. Do you think that's like a bot or a person? That's probably a bot, right?
Probably, yeah. I think it starts as bots and then they pick it up, and so now we're like extremely cautious of like, okay, like
it all goes to the rental site now.
They also don't like kissing.
Yeah.
If you show kissing too long or too much, more than just a peck. This one video they have hated forever. I ended up pulling it and just putting it on Twitter, and it's an episode from like season 2 or 3. And it's just a simple episode where a guy and a girl sit on a couch. He starts making out with her, and then he asks her to make him a sandwich, and that was the gag. And then he ends up making his own sandwich at the end. And
that's how that would
but
come up.
I shot it like a Hollywood movie, and I did close-ups, and they were like lips and making out and just making it hot and heavy. Probably went on for 30 seconds. And they tried banning that video. They've never monetized it. They've always hated it.
Wow.
And I'm like. And it's because they're kissing it.
You got someone going too hard.
YouTube wants everything to be for kids now, basically. Or if it's not advertiser or kid friendly, it's like maybe you just don't have the right advertisers.
Yeah, that's my
Get some more adult advertisers.
I can go on a rant about YouTube.
Right.
So if you're recording now,
we're good.
We're going.
I'm catching all of
That
this.
seems like a great segue.
That's exactly the way Oz did it too. He would just get you talking and then be like, "We're recording."
By the way, 10 minutes later.
Yeah. We kind of started off being like a little more awkward about it and like, okay, we're going to start now. Like,
It's a little easier just talking.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
just trying to keep it organic.
Keep it natural. Yeah.
So, hello everybody. Here we are.
What up?
Our newest episode. We have Wyatt and Kris here, and you guys are from
Notebook Entertainment.
And recently Notebook TV.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's all one banner.
It's all under the Notebook Entertainment brand, but we do have two channels now: Notebook Movies and Notebook Entertainment, or Notebook TV.
Yeah, we call ourselves a multimedia company under the banner of Notebook Entertainment, because we've also got Notebook Photography, and then my personal photography, Penelope Blue Fantasy, is also under our banner. And then we have Notebook Publishing as well.
Yep, because she's a 4-time published author.
Yep, and then we've published a children's book for author Sue Cook. It's about a
service dog,
a
training
puppy.
of a service dog and puppy. It's very cute. And
Very cool.
And she's gone in to different like hospitals and communities that are raise money for kids to get service dogs, and she reads the book to them and stuff. And
Wow.
That is really cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So we do a lot.
This is like a multimedia enterprise.
We're trying.
We're trying.
Yeah.
Right. We're trying.
So I guess hit it with a little background, or what got you guys into multimedia?
Well, I guess I'll start since I started the company, but I've always wanted to make movies. I didn't know how. I loved movies. I loved watching all the behind the scenes stuff. I've always idolized directors over actors and stuff. Even before I knew what a director did, I was like, I don't know what he does, but I want that job. And
It seems important. It
it's
must
right.
be.
It's right. Those are the ones that get all the credit, because poor writers, they get nothing. But
Don't even get me started.
so I was 2007, and a buddy of mine, we were working at American, if you guys remember American TV
do.
in Rockford here, and my buddy Steve, and there was a new Rambo movie coming out. And we were in the break room, and we were both fans of the 80s movies, and we were talking about it. And this young punk was in the break room too. And he heard us talking about it, and he's like, Rainbow, what the heck is that? And then we all laughed at him, and we were like, it's Rambo, blah, blah, blah. Set him straight. And then 2 seconds later, we're looking at each other, and I start laughing. We start laughing at each other, and I said, Rainbow. Sounds like a interior decorator parody or something of Rambo. And we both just looked at each other. And he did a great impression of Sylvester Stallone. And he was like built and everything like him. And we just looked at each other and were like, we got to do this. And so we just wrote it and made it. And it was a cheesy camera I think our friend had. It wasn't even HD or anything. And we just made it, threw it on the internet. Learned as we went. We just figured it out, and very cheesy.
What year was this?
2007.
And you were saying YouTube started 2006.
2006. Yep. So
Right at the beginning.
before that, I was just posting videos from my brother's band.
They wound up getting to the front page of Reddit with Rainbow?
Yahoo. At the time when YouTube was first getting started, every
I guess there
website.
wouldn't be Reddit. There was no Reddit back
Reddit
then.
was around.
Pre-Reddit.
You maybe.
So old. You're so old.
So there was we put it everywhere we could find. We put it on MySpace, for crying out loud. But Yahoo had a video page at the time, and they put it on their front page, and it blew up. And so all day at work, we were running the computer and refreshing the screen and watching the views go up and higher and higher and higher and higher.
Wow.
There was no money in it back then. It was just glory.
Brag
And I
rights.
think it was on their front page for like a day, and they didn't get the traction that everybody did, but we ended up with like 70,000 views or something on that video. And so I always say that I never looked back since. It was he and I that started it, and we did a superhero parody after that called Above Average Man. Lasted about 4 episodes.
Which is now a play.
Yes.
One of his friends is a high school drama teacher, and he turned it into a play.
No shit.
And his
Yeah.
students performed it, and he
at
sold
Harlem.
it, and now they get money every time anybody wants to do it. I guess.
He wrote it. He performed it in Harlem. We went and saw it. It was very
It's really
surreal, very cute though. And then he got it published in Hewer Publishing, which I guess is a place where they publish plays, and that's where schools and all go to rent them and then to buy them. And so technically, I guess I'm a playwright now.
I would have never thought about selling a school a play. That's crazy.
I didn't know it was a thing really until he did it. And he came to me and was like, hey, I can get it published, and we'll split it 3 ways and blah blah blah. I mean, believe me, there's no money in it. It's very little, but in theory, it is out there. And
Yeah, it's like a big credibility.
Yeah,
Man,
it's a
that's
huge, yeah. So
pretty damn cool.
there's a lot of things like that where I've kind of like fallen ass
Right.
backwards into it and just been kind of like, oh, okay, I
Yeah.
guess I'm a playwright now, you know, like so.
Well, we're technically award nominated
Yes.
too, because for our Deadiston show, one of our actors or actresses got nominated for Young Artist Award in Hollywood. So we got to go to Hollywood and go to the award show.
We sure did.
That was so cool.
And we didn't even know she submitted it herself. She
Yep.
did all the work, and all of a sudden she's announcing this, and we're like, huh? No, she called us. That's what it
Yeah.
was. She called us and was telling us about this. And we're like, what now?
Right.
And so
It was
we
the
ended up
same
going
year
there.
that Get Out, or not Get Out, the one with the head, Inside Out. Came out, and so
Oh,
the
yeah.
little girl that was the voice of Riley was sitting at our table, and she was nominated with our actress.
Yeah.
So our actress definitely didn't win, but it was still cool.
It
to
was
go.
weird. We were in a room full of young kids
Hollywood
that were
people,
in
yeah.
Hollywood shows, and most of them I didn't even know. Like, I don't watch Disney Channel
too old
shows,
for that.
so like I don't know who this is. But the ones that were voice actors from movies, I knew who they were, and like you said, I was like, oh, I'm
I
so
recognize
sorry.
the voice. You're good.
It's all right, man.
Sorry, I should
I do that
So
half the time
unprofessional.
anyway,
Yeah. I know. I do that when I'm directing at the time. So, oops.
But yeah, he wound up keep making stuff, and then I came in 2015.
2015. Well, I met you in 2013 as one of my
Yeah.
actors, and because we have a mutual friend named Ty.
Yep,
And
I went to
he-
high school with him.
And
so.
he was one of my actors, and he was starred in my first drama I ever did called Son of a Gun, and I still owe him a sequel to that, almost 10 to 15 years later. But and then he said, "I know somebody you should know," and she was doing a lot of acting at the time and acted in a lot of short
Indie
films and
films,
stuff,
yeah.
indie films, and
Yeah, I'm the eternal theater kid.
I was like, "Bring her on
I used to
over."
make my sister and my cousin and stuff like do little things that I would make up, and they hated me, but
Oh yeah, she's definitely a ham.
it's fine.
And she was always, I grew to use her a lot and liked her a lot because she was available at the time. I don't remember if you weren't working at the time or what, but
No,
you
I
were,
had 2 jobs
you were
at the time.
available at the time, or made yourself available anyways.
I just didn't say-
And she was down for whatever. So like those are 2 things that are like okay, and then she came to me with because she had a movie that she had written and tried to produce and was in the middle of producing when I met her, and it fell apart.
It fell apart, as indie film can do sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a common thing.
Oh yeah, and and then she came to me about the zombie script that she
Yeah,
had read.
I wound up going to the hospital with gallstones, and while I'm in there all drugged out, they had played Me TV, and so it was like all old episodes of like Munsters and Leave It to Beaver and all that stuff. So I came out of the hospital, I'm like, so I've got this idea for this old school type sitcom, but it's about a family of zombies.
Yep. And so I liked the pitch immediately. She wrote a script, and it took me probably 3 months to read it because I'm just, for one,
Writers are used to that kind of thing.
Yeah, and one, to be fair, I had actors come to me with their projects before, and they weren't worth producing or anything. So I was hesitant, but I liked the premise. So I did eventually read it, and I loved it immediately. And I saw it as a one-off. I saw it as a one-time, let's do this as a spoof gag, and then maybe every once in a while we'll do more. Because at that time I was doing mainly FML, but I also did short films once in a while, as I got inspired. But after producing it, it was so much fun, and seeing the final result of it edited together, I'll never forget. I turned to her and I was like, we made a sitcom.
Right.
It felt like a sitcom. It looked like an old sitcom. And I'm just like,
We put the laugh track, it's shot in black and white.
yeah, I did it in the 4x9 square instead of and I was just like, that was the first time I bought new equipment for a project. And that was the first.
And they're rough. They are rough, but we learned. I think we learned the most doing that whole series because we kept losing actors, as also happens in any film.
we had to
People
adapt,
move.
yeah. And we
so there's lots of
adapted it.
adapting, and we finally, I think, gave up around the middle of season 2. But we do have season 1 all available on DVD, Amazon Prime, all of that on our
Which one
local
is that?
TV.
That's Deadersons?
Deadersons.
The Deadersons. Yeah, there's
It's about a family of zombies. What was the tagline? They're just like your family, only dead.
Only zombies, I think.
Or yeah, so,
They're just like your family, only zombies.
I like that concept.
Yeah.
yeah. And the very first pilot episode could be a standalone, but it's filled with all the old tropes where the boss comes over for dinner and they, things go wrong, and yeah.
Yep. And then and that's how I saw it, but we had so much fun doing it and everything, and we had a good cast, like a really solid cast. And so
Yeah, shout out Valerie, Derek, and Jennifer,
Yeah.
and Eric, Tori.
all those guys. And
Aaron
so we
Wilson,
immediately jumped into season 2. Oh, not season 2, but the next episode. And we ended up doing it once a month. And we kept up to that pace for a long time. And we got all the press to talk about it. We were on the radio station, a couple of different radio stations. We were on all the news channels.
We got Whitney Martin to do a guest spot. She came on and was a zombie, and so is Captain Jack.
Yeah, Captain Jack said he made a couple of times. He was in like 3
he enjoyed
episodes.
it.
He was in like 3
He liked
episodes.
it.
Yeah. Captain Jack we're still friends. He'll call
Yeah.
me up because he knows I have a whole costume department, and he'll call me up and be like, I need a Santa Claus costume. I'm like, I got you. I need an Easter Bunny costume.
Got
you. Yeah.
You're the costume.
I'm the
boy.
costume guy.
He calls
yeah.
me up when they've got they did a Kiss thing last year, and they had me come in studio to do one of their little videos, and it was a how to do Kiss makeup. So I got to do on Double T. I did Kiss makeup.
Yep, and then and so he'll just and then I'll do the same to him. I'm like, hey, I need to shoot this. Can I shoot it at the station? Sure, and so he'll let me shoot at the station or whatever. So that's how I've always done business.
Relationships.
Was hey, you help me, I help you, and vice versa.
Yeah,
and stuff,
absolutely.
And then so it really helped us in the community and meet a lot more people and film around here and stuff.
So you did, the first one was Rainbow.
John Rainbow, yeah.
John Rainbow.
Yeah.
If you look at that now,
Oh.
cringy.
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't be like, actually, that was pretty good.
I thought for sure that I still had, because I thought I had kept every single thing I've ever shot. But some of the early stuff did escape me, and I thought I had it. And I was going to go back and try to re-edit it. And I don't have it. So, yeah, it is what it is. It's a piece of time. I mean, it is funny. Like, I still laugh and chuckle at it when I watch it. But the editing does drive. Like, the editing's not good.
And you could tell from
That's
from
something
FML.
you just have to chop your way through if you
Yeah.
want to learn
Yeah.
to edit.
And you know what? It's not even just that. It's the picture quality's terrible. The sound is terrible. But
Technology was significantly
It
different
was.
then.
I think it was literally a VHS-C camcorder or something that we used. Like it was.
So old.
Yeah. If I'm lucky, it was one of the little mini tape ones, but I'm not sure that it was. It wasn't my camera. We just used whatever we could get.
Wow.
But and what's funny is because my friend Steve edited that, and I'm not slamming him for editing that because neither one of us knew what we were doing, but I learned with him, and he had gotten this program called Sony Vegas. And I think he had just someone given it to him or whatever. We didn't even realize it was like professional quality software. And that's what he learned on, and therefore that's what I learned on, and to this day I still use it.
Even starting then, there was like less stuff to Google about it. I was
Oh
saying,
yeah.
like,
Oh, for
you're
sure.
not watching YouTube videos on it.
Yeah. I don't, if it wasn't for Steve, I don't think I would be here now because he had the initiative and probably, gave me the motivation, because when you have somebody else saying, let's do this versus I want to do this, it helps a lot. And,
Oh yeah,
know,
that's
and-
a little background. Like me and Marco, that's definitely a lot of the case with a lot of the newer ventures that we've been doing.
Yeah,
because we've been, I don't know how familiar you guys are with us, but there's the vape shops, and we've been at that for like 7 years, and now we're tapping into a lot of other different avenues.
Oh, okay.
Sham Show being definitely another one.
Yeah,
So,
I'm aware
totally feel you
of
on
your shop for sure. I don't know how many you have, but I've seen your commercials and I think that they're fun.
Yeah.
Like
That's the extent of our acting. We were
At
talking
least,
earlier.
right,
We
but
can
at
act.
least you're trying out there. And
Yeah.
you're not
Right.
just like, this is a vape shop, come here.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I saw there was like a musical or a rap or something you did, wasn't there?
Yeah, both.
And I'm like,
That gets attention.
it does.
Yeah.
So I remembered it. I don't vape, but I know your shop.
Yeah.
If
you did, you'd come to.
Exactly. So, and I do want to come now and check out your shops and see if it's something we can film at or whatever. But how many shops do you have?
Two.
Okay.
Yep. We had a hemp shop that we closed right after the coronavirus stuff started.
Oh, did you?
Didn't quite make it through.
Okay.
But yeah, 2 physical shops, and then we had an online store,
Nice.
a little bit of delivery. One of the
Okay.
shops has a drive-through.
We got a clean room that might make for some cool scenes. It's
What's
like
a clean room?
it's a room where it's HEPA filtered, which just means there's clean air that's pushing other air out, and that's where we make our juices.
Oh, okay.
And so it just looks like a lab, basically.
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
like a white
Okay.
room. I
That'd
don't
be
know.
cool.
That'd be cool.
Maybe
Yeah, I would
something
love
a
to
little
come
different.
by and take a tour of your
For-
place. And,
For sure.
It's a cool spot,
if
man.
there's behind the scenes like offices and stuff, that'd be very valuable to us too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we used to use the Coronado, but then a new person got in charge of that, and they're like, "We're gonna charge for you to use rooms now," and we're like, "Oh, well, never mind."
Right. You know,
The previous arrangement was just you guys can use it.
Yep, it
whenever
was
you
just
want.
that. Yeah, because again, we knew the people. They contacted us, and they were like, "We like what you're doing. How can we help?" And so we're like, "You could let us film it."
Yeah, we had our DVD release party there for the Edersons.
And so they were like, "Okay," and then they would let us use it, and then she said somebody new took over, and the guy that was liked us and moved on, and she didn't have any relationship with us, so she was like, "Why are we letting them use this for free?"
Which I get, you know.
Yeah, I get it.
I get
you know.
it.
So going back to the beginning, have you had multiple channels that were taken down or disappeared, or was it really?
Well, sort of. The first channel I ever had when I very first started, it was like I said, when I started in 2006, YouTube was just a thing to put videos of my brother who played drums in a band, and I would go around and film them and then put them on because it was a MySpace thing. It was nothing serious.
At that point, people were not even taking it serious. Like,
No,
this might not stick
I
around.
don't think there. I'm sure there were some people that were starting. Like Philip DeFranco was probably on there already,
Right.
but and like
I think it helped that The Office talked about YouTube like constantly too.
Oh, for sure. All of that helped. And so my channel was just whatever I'd made it, and it was called Joe Dog 3333. And it was just Joe Dog was a character from a comic book that I had drawn when I was a kid. And that's all it was. All my emails were something related to that. And so that got pulled into I uploaded to that forever. With no monetization or whatever, but then I made friends with this guy on YouTube named David Spates, and he's a California comedian, and I love him to death. When we went to California, we went and met up with him, and we went to dinner and stuff, and he does skits too. To this day, he does skits. And I always looked up to him because he did this kind of similar thing to me. He had like 200,000 subscribers. I had like 50, And we became friends because he was looking for an editor, and I had applied, and he, used me to help edit a couple of his videos. And in 2012, he was branching out, and he was starting his own network. And so he invited me to do it. And I was like, well, I can't because my channel was YouTube banned. I was on it, but I was never allowed to be monetized because in the early days of YouTube, they wouldn't monetize a channel. They'd monetize individual videos. And the second FML I ever did, which is still to this day one of the most popular videos I ever made, I can't fully explain it, but it got monetized, and I didn't know anything about it. And so I remember I was at work one time, and I was like, oh, so ads pop up on this. So what happens now? What happens when I click on the ad? Oh, I got paid for that? Oh, okay. And I would click on it. And at the time, you could see in live real time how much your video was making. This is how old this was. And so, and I knew you couldn't get paid out to $100. So I was like, well, how many clicks does it take?
You're
to get
just
to
going
$100? So I'm just like, click, click, click,
Absolutely,
click.
man.
And
That's not allowed.
They didn't like that. They knew it was me, and they shadowed on what's it called, shadow banned or whatever it is, and they banned my channel from ever being monetized again. And I remember I got super drunk that night, and some friends of mine came over and because at that point I looked at it like, well, this was my only chance. YouTube is over. I have no other way. You can't just make a new channel.
It's all over.
I thought Google.
They know it's me on the
Google
internet
would
now.
know. Google would know it was me. And so I just gave up, and but I still made the videos and stuff. And then in 2012, he reached out and he's like, I told him that, and he's like, well, just make a new channel. And I was like, I can do that. And he's like, it's worth a shot. Hey, Dave. And so he did, and so that's when it became Notebook Movies, and that's when that was the first time I started taking it seriously and actually thought of a name because I wanted Notebook Entertainment, but some other asshole had that. And so I just use Notebook Movies, and I guess they say the rest is history.
And it became like the FML channel, basically. We did try and put other shows on there. Fans did not want that. So that's where Notebook TV, the second channel, came in. That's where we kind of get to put other stuff to try out.
Because when I started it, FML was just one of our shows. It was supposed to be, I had short movies, I had comedy skits, I had just whatever I wanted to make. And when we did the Dead or Sins, it went on there as well. But we started to notice a trend that FMLs would get watched and
nothing else
would get the attention. And so now I understand that YouTubers are very narrow-minded with what they like. And it's like, your channel gives me this. I like this. I don't like anything else you do. And so, you could have the attitude, which I tried, as, well, I'm going to do what I want. Or you can try to adapt to it.
Right.
You know what? I finally get why people have different channels and stuff. Because I think
it must appease the masses.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me because, as invaluable as self-expression is, where you want to create things just that you want to do, get you a spot for that. But if you got an audience, it's hard not to,
exactly. If you have an audience,
keep it rolling.
Yep. If you have an audience, it's hard to turn your back on that.
But we didn't want to, get burnt out just doing FML and nothing else. We had ideas. We had other things we wanted to do.
Yep. And exactly.
It's kind of like a have your cake and eat it too
exactly.
thing.
Right. And I kind of told her too, is I think Notebook TV is her channel to do what she wants with it. She's pretty much in charge of it.
Yeah, I write most of the shows on there.
She writes the shows. She takes care of what shows we're going to do. I edit it and I participate.
I'm basically the producer of that channel.
Yep.
And he's the producer
of the other
movies.
One. And so that's kind of how it works. Now, if there's something that she'll write FML sometimes, and then there might be some day where I come up with a show that I want to do on Notebook TV, and we'll do that. But
what's the concept of FML? What's the base at its core concept?
It's super simple. We'll go back to in 2009. There was a website that really blew up, and it was called fmylife.com. And it was just a simple site. It's still around, but people would submit short stories, and they all start with, today, such and such happened to me, and end with, fuck my life.
Kind of like an early blog or something?
Yeah, it was a blog that people could submit their own stories to. And it was easy to use, and it was right when smartphones were getting popular. So at work, when downtime, everyone was on their phone reading this. And we would laugh about it.
At other people's misfortunes.
Yeah, basically.
That's what the internet is.
It's what loves company.
Yeah.
And so I would visualize it. That's just how I am. You tell me a story, I'm visualizing it. And I came up, and always thought of when they say "fuck my life," it should be a stamp that comes on and stamps them. And so it took me about a year of kind of thinking about it and developing it, because I had done a retail series before that, which I loved, and I filmed it at American. And that's why it's no longer around, because corporate found out we were filming it there. We did it without permission or anything. We just did it, except for the local managers knew about it, and they said, yeah, fine, whatever, we don't care. And the managers would stay after work and let me film it and everything, because they thought it was funny too. We were making fun of customers, basically. And so about episode 5, it started to go viral. Not viral on the internet, but viral amongst the company, because other stores were finding it and sharing it, and we started getting word. I would go to other stores and people would be like, "Are you the one who makes the retail videos?" and blah blah blah. And as cool as it was, I was also like,
one of these two guys is gonna ask me that.
Sure
It's
enough, I'm home on my day off one day, and I get a phone call from the boss, and he's like, "Corporate found out, they're shutting us down. You need to come in. We might all be fired." And and I was like, I had to get up, get dressed, get ready, and go down there, and corporate was there, and they interrogated everybody that was involved. My manager almost got fired because he was the one who allowed it. Even though he was the manager who inherited, the woman before him was the one who really allowed it. Thanks, Kirsten. And Kirsten, to this day on Facebook, anytime I do anything, she comments on there and be like, "I knew you win." And but this guy really loved it. He even acted in them for us. He played a customer. I had him dressed up as a hillbilly. He had a Green Bay Packers shirt on and stuff.
Couldn't even try to deny it.
Oh, no, he couldn't deny it. Oh, it was hilarious. And he went all out. He shaved his beard to look like a hick and everything. He was everybody. this guy, everybody hated who worked under him. For some reason, we got along. He was cool as hell. I think it's because he liked what I did. One time I was working and I got paged, went to the office. And everyone's like, oh, you're in trouble. And I go back there and he sits me down and he's like, I think you would like this show. And he shows me Dawson's Creek and wants to watch Dawson's Creek.
He wasn't wrong. Dawson's Creek's awesome.
And we sat there for an hour in his office, watched Dawson's Creek, and I'm like, yeah, that was pretty good. I might have to check it out. Yeah, you should get it, blah, blah, blah. And then I came out and everyone's like, what happened? What happened? And I was like, we just chilled and watched Dawson's Creek for an hour. Yeah, so, you know, I ended up negotiating with the bosses because I didn't want him to get fired. You know, he was helping me out and stuff, and I didn't want to get fired at the time either. It was my money. And so they agreed that if I took the videos down, that, you know, everything would be fine and not do it again. And so that was one of the first times I created a second channel, and I took them down, waited about a month, put them back up on a secret channel. I don't even remember what they might even still be there. I don't remember what it was.
Really?
And I will posted them, and they were up there just so I could share them and see them and stuff. And
I would love to see that now.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, we're hoping to revive it. Actually,
it's still up. The show is back on my channel.
Yeah.
Like once I quit there, I didn't give a fuck.
No,
and I was just like, make me take it down.
Yeah,
what are
fire
you
me
gonna do?
now. Yeah.
You know.
Right.
But we're actually
It's not
talking about rebooting that show because Toad Halls, they said they'd let us film there, and that's what we need is like locations.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm thinking about yours. Because one of the ideas I have for if I were to revive it is I think different characters could work at different retail outlets, and you could get like a feel of everything that's out there.
We'd love to make fun of our
That
customers.
would be awesome. Yeah.
on the table.
You're talking to corporate right here, so it shouldn't be a problem with us.
And that's what I need is I need somebody who gets it and supports it. Like I remember there was this place downtown called well, maybe I won't say what it was called. And they loved it and they wanted us. They were this close to letting us film there. Where I casted it. I had scheduled a day and everything. And on the day before, like I did with you, are we still on? And he goes, he was getting cold feet because of making fun of customers and stuff. And he was like, my employees tell me I shouldn't do this. And I was like, well, you're the boss, aren't you?
I think sentiment is on retail workers' side at this moment in
yeah,
history.
it's a different world now. So
there's the Karen now. So
I feel like those
you're not
first
talking about all customers.
That's true. Those first 5 episodes and the spinoffs we did are on my channel now. They just don't get a lot of views. They're older videos, and I haven't promoted them in a long time.
The clip of her bashing the customer's head that went viral as like a GIF or something.
Yeah. So then later in 2012, we got an opportunity. I was working at a little independent Verizon store. And they were closing down a couple of their stores. And I knew the manager, he did my videos. And I was like, so can I film when the store is closing down? And he said, sure, here's the keys. You've got 2 weeks before they turn off the electricity. I was like, okay. Now, unfortunately, I had a real job and I had to work. And so I only had like 4 days to film between 2 weeks. And that's what we did. We went there and we created a short version of Retail that was called Retails, Tales. And it was more in the style of FML, where they were like 2-minute, 3-minute skits. And we just shot as much as we could. And then, so that series ended up being like 1 season. I think it had like 8 episodes or something. And, but yeah, then later I turned one of the clips, I think it was on Facebook. And the clip was Ty. Our friend Ty is a customer, and he's being belligerent. And
was it Ty or was it Brian?
No, it was Ty. It was Ty. Oh, I know it was Ty. And so my friend Kelly, who played the employee worker, her job was to grab him by the back of the head and beat his head into the counter. Well, the counter turned out to be a little bit off like this, and he was using his hands to block himself as he hit, and he missed it once and hit him in the eye, and the scene was she lets him go, and he flies back and lands on the ground off camera. And so he did that, and we're all laughing hysterically, and we're like, great, perfect, cut. And then I hear him off camera go, I'm bleeding.
Oh shit.
And he's like, don't turn the camera off. Come get this. This is good production value. And he pretends to be dead. And I'm like recording it. And there's like blood all over his face. So it's in the video.
Ty is one who goes off for it. We were selling ad space in the Dedersons because we would make, old timey black and white commercials that our cast and crew would star in.
Yeah, so we had sponsors,
Cool.
And Ty, we had him do a chiropractor one. And so he was supposed to pretend to be hit by the car. And so the first time I drove the car past him, he's like, no, drive closer. You'll be fine. I'm like, dude. So I drive very close to him and he flips himself in the air and lands wrong. And you can see it on the camera where I thought this dude was dead. I thought he was dead.
Because he just flipped himself in the air and threw it. And that's the shot that's in the final take because it looks so good that
Like,
we
how
couldn't
did this
not
dude
use
not
it.
get hurt?
But we both thought, well, we're in trouble now.
We
He's
killed
dead.
somebody.
How does that not get flagged for violence? Like the one that he's bleeding in, that's got to be violent.
Because YouTube is, again, it doesn't. If you don't get very many hits or much attention, you're going to get away with anything. They don't care. Unless somebody complains. The problem is with FML is some of the episodes, like the highest FML video ever got was 42 million views on one episode.
Whoa.
And that's enough to draw attention.
And that's enough to draw
channel.
attention. And then when a lot of your episodes, before I deleted a bunch of stuff, we were up to like 20 or 30 episodes with over 1 million views.
Wow.
And so then now you're starting to get their attention. And now they're starting to look at you. And so, it started out with they didn't want us to do nudity, which we weren't doing nudity. We did suggested nudity. Everything we've ever done is PG-13. PG really, but let's say PG-13. And then, so we took those down and then they said they did it again. And so the only we could figure was, well, it must be some of the toilet episodes because I like poop humor and we do a lot of poop humor. It turns out the fans love poop humor.
Love it.
I was definitely going to ask about that.
Love it.
We were not.
We don't make that many poop ones because no, it's because it's requested.
And it's very, very requested. So then, but luckily enough, I do find poop humor, and I always say I have the sense of humor of a 12-year-old boy, and I grew up with the movies like American Pie and all that kind of stuff, which has now got me in trouble. But so I do have that sense of humor, and I'm fine with it, and as long as I just think it's funny. And so we've had people pay us to make episodes, and they're like, hey, how much does it cost to produce this? And I'll see if an actor's interested, and if they are, then I'll cut them in on it, and blah blah, and then we make the episode. But still, as long as I can make it funny and I can find it entertaining, I won't just make, well, this girl's pooping on the toilet for an hour. I can't do that. I need to make it entertaining. I need to tell a story. I need to make it. And so the same thing when we do our contest, or we do what's called FML DIY, and we'll bring an actress on board and be like, hey, she'll make an announcement, be like, I'm willing to do, whatever, or please, and they'll make an announcement saying, write an episode for me.
I'll poop.
Yeah, and 99% of them, 99% of them that come in
doesn't
are
matter the
poop-related
girl.
stories.
Doesn't matter which girl.
No, and so, there's been a couple where the actor's been like, I just don't want to do a poop one. And I'm like,
I'm
fine.
tired of them.
And so we'll purposely pick ones that aren't, because it's up to the actors and me to decide which ones win. And so the fans can beg and plead and submit all they want, but ultimately, no one's ever going to film anything in Notebook they're not comfortable with.
No.
And that's been our rule since day one.
Yeah, I've done some of the fake nude ones, but I told him, I said, I don't want to do the toilet ones. It's not my humor. I don't. Naked to me funny, toilet not funny. So
and
it's
so
just
I'm
me.
like, and I'm like, that's fine then. And so nobody ever gets, and I've heard that a lot. I've had several friends of mine over the years that were
I'll
like,
get naked.
yeah, I'll be butt ass
naked.
naked. I'll streak around the corner for a gag. That's fine. Poop? Oh no, I don't want to do that. And again, I understand that and respect that and don't have any problem with that.
Have you ever tried doing a dude actor pooping?
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Oh, we've got a few of them.
Nothing.
We've tried doing the like we had some popular episodes where there was a girl's bikini wash that went wrong, and so we had two of our dude actors who were like, "No, we want to do it." And it was their idea. They wanted to do these really short, cut off Daisy Dukes. They cut their own shorts.
They made their own costumes and they had their own dance routine down, and I just had to come and film it. And I was like, okay, and it was hilarious. God, it was funny.
It's such a funny episode.
But But the girls
Doesn't
one
get
got
the
like
numbers.
25, 30,000 views, whatever. The guys one, I think still to this day has like 3,000
We told them,
views.
my direction to these guys, and this, I was like, remember the Simpsons Family Guy crossover episode? I said, that's what I want, is when Homer and Peter are washing the cars. That's what I want.
And that's what they gave us.
That's what they gave us.
It was hilarious. And so now next year we're talking about maybe doing like a Bring It On spoof where it's like,
like
guys versus girls, you
car
know,
wash.
like car wash or something.
Oh, yeah.
We were going to do it this year, but a
Yeah,
lot of
a
stuff
lot
got
of stuff
canceled this
happened.
year.
What was the content of the one that got 42, 43 million views?
I don't really understand. I mean, it was a great episode. I liked the episode, but it was a Christmas one from 2015. My friend Sarah started it.
Sarah's a very pretty girl,
She is
so that
very pretty
helps.
girl. That does help. But it was about her meeting her boyfriend's folks, and she was for the holidays. She was staying over there for the holidays with him, but his folks were very conservative, and so they had to sleep in separate bedrooms because they weren't married. And so she whispers to him, after everybody's asleep, meet me out by the tree, you know, and we'll hook up. And so she waits and waits for him. He passed out and fell asleep. So she's waiting for him naked, and she falls asleep. And then the parents all find her out there by the tree, you know, laying on the tree butt naked. And that was the episode.
Something about that.
And again, it
A
didn't show
pretty
us,
naked girl, I mean,
yeah,
you're going
it
to
didn't
get
show
views.
anything, and it was on there, and it was monetized for a long time too. And then, so, you know, we did well in that video. And but then eventually, after all this stuff happened, and YouTube, because over the years, YouTube has gotten stricter and stricter and stricter. And now it's basically an app for kids. Like, I get comments from viewers that will say, "This ain't for kids."
Like,
And I'm
no,
like, no
it's not.
shit.
It's really not. Don't watch it.
I put in all my videos, "Is this for kids?" No, it is not. It is not for children.
Yeah, when you go to upload it,
Yep.
you say not for kids.
Not for kids. I'm not trying to say it's for kids. I've never tried to, you know, pretend it was for kids. It is not for kids.
Yeah, if your kid stumbled upon it, that's on you for not watching what they're watching.
Yep.
Like,
Right.
But that's not how YouTube does. So, you know.
Do you think that's a lot of the toilet humor is kids watching, or do you think it's adults?
Oh,
No, it's adults.
It's adults.
It's
Yeah.
adults.
The
And a lot
comments
of from out of country too.
Oh,
Got
yeah.
a lot of views.
For a while there, our number one country we were in was like Saudi Arabia. It was
They like poop over there, I guess. I don't know.
well, someone told me it was because they don't have things like Pornhub and stuff.
Well,
they have to
that
rely on
explains
YouTube,
it.
you know. So I'm like, okay.
They ain't got Pornhub in Saudi Arabia.
They barely have the internet in Saudi Arabia. Like, it's.
I was gonna say I don't understand how they
Okay.
see
I
our
see- I
stuff
see
in
that.
Saudi Arabia. You know,
because
like-
everything's restricted, you know. So YouTube is allowed, and so, but apparently it's certain thing, and so our show would, I guess, sneak through or whatever, and so we got very popular over there. And
Yeah, remember how
Korea
we
we're
told you
popular in,
YouTube
and-
was worried about we were, you know, encouraging people to
Gratifying.
Yeah,
gratify
yeah,
themselves.
I know. Like the phrasing they use is so ridiculous. But again, so then, like, you know, I wish that they would just tell you, hey, we don't like this, stop doing this. You know,
But they don't.
We don't like this particular video, don't put this video up. Here's what you can do. They don't. They just go, we
taking
don't like
your
this.
channel away.
Here's a very brief description of what we don't like that's very vague. You figure it out.
Yeah.
And then reapply in a month. And then it's like, okay. And every time we get approved,
Yeah.
you know, so it's like, okay, clearly you guys don't have a problem with their content. It's
Yeah. So the point we're at now is the clean FMLs, meaning there's absolutely no
There's no
intimacy of any
suggested
kind,
nudity,
no
there's no
suggested
pooping.
poop,
Yeah.
no toilet of any kind. Those all still go up on YouTube, and then the rest will go to our rental site, which that's been working out great for us. So
yeah, we
What's
have a site called Moments, and it's where. So, you know, we have Patreon as well, which is a monthly subscription, and you get to see behind the scenes content on there, and that's where you get to interact with us and stuff.
YouTube's a little looser there.
Yeah, and then but Patreon doesn't like some things too. So then we have Moments, which started out as a website that I figured, okay, not everybody's going to want to have a subscription and a monthly obligation. So maybe they just want to see a video and they just want to rent it. So I'd rent clips of videos that weren't on YouTube for $2, $5, whatever. Then when all this happened, now it's turned into its own. You can rent them individually, or you can. There's a subscription service, and you can subscribe. And so I do want to make an announcement. You guys are gonna be the first ones to hear this.
Awesome.
So we're gonna do a premiere here, guys.
Listen up.
So we have not announced this on our channel yet, but we will be. So you
Yeah, we
guys,
just decided today.
this just happened today. So we had a website all the fans know about called The Vibe. They contacted us and they were like, they had originally thought that they wanted to be a YouTube competitor website, and they wanted to have YouTubers on there who were in trouble with YouTube and couldn't get along with YouTube and stuff. So it started out great.
They were
and,
billing themselves as like the place where videos that YouTube doesn't want.
yeah,
You know?
and so we created a new series that was called FML After Dark, where we were specifically making episodes that had
Adults.
to do, that had to do with
Spicy.
sexual stuff that were more spicy and. And then they decided to shift gears, and they were making money on another format.
Calls?
Yeah, and they kept wanting us to do it, and they were selling time for people to interact with their fans, and they would call you. I mean,
We don't have a business line.
I'm not. I don't know. I just.
Not giving our fans my number.
Yeah, we're both very private, inverted people, and I think that.
Introverted, not introverted.
Yeah, that's what I meant. And I was like, they're not going to want to talk to us. They're going to want to talk to the damn girl in the video,
Right.
you know. And I'm not going to.
And we don't want to. Yeah, we don't
Right.
So I was like, I don't want to do that. So we eventually decided that was more the direction they were going. So all that content now is going to go into Moments. So
No more
FML
Vibe.
After Dark is now going to be exclusive. We're still going to make it, but it's going to be an exclusive episode on our Moments channel, which people can either rent them or they can subscribe. All that content's going to go over there. And so if anybody has a Vibe subscription,
cancel it.
Yeah, if you don't like anything else on there, you were there for us. It's time to cancel it now because
How big is that website? Like, is there?
it wasn't very big.
No.
There was one girl before we joined that was their biggest, and she did those ASMR videos.
Yeah, she was
which are big. So
she was their next biggest content, and then she decided to stop to go to school, and so for a while there it was just us pretty much that was uploading. So I'd upload a video and it'd be like trending immediately on there. I mean, it felt good.
They were brand new, so
Like,
we were like, okay,
yeah.
we'll get on the ground floor of
Yeah,
this.
I did like them, and I liked the setup of their website and everything, but their communication, faltered, and it came like for the past month, our videos haven't been able to be seen on there, and the fans have been like, "What's going on with the Vibe? What's going on with the Vibe?" And I have no answer for them because they were on vacation, and I'm like, I don't know, and so it got very frustrating, and unfortunately, it turned into a separation of our companies, but I think it's better for the both of us because they're going in a direction that we didn't want to go in, and so forth. So.
And your website is Moments.
It's Moments. I forget. It's like /FML or something. Like they don't have a direct link. I can send you all the links to put in the video.
Yeah, we'll throw them in the
I'll do
description.
that. Yeah, I'll send you the links. So now we're on YouTube and we are monetized. So you can help us out just by watching our videos. We do have a subscription for Patreon, and so what we've done is Patreon is where if you're a fan and you want to see behind the scenes of the videos that we shoot, if you want to see, some exclusive episodes, we do put some on there. But if you want to see videos that are like episodes that never aired and stuff like that, we put it on there. And then that's also where you can interact with us. We'll do,
Fan
suggestions, and that's where they can send us ideas. And we've used a lot of fan ideas. There are some fan ideas that are quite clever.
And we'll label that episode a fan episode too, so people know, hey, tell us your ideas. We will use them.
And if they want credit, we'll give them credit too.
Patreon is less on the censor wagon, like it's still a little bit, but not as bad as
They
YouTube.
are on the censor wagon but it's never really affected us because what they're on the censor wagon for is they don't want porn, they don't want to be an OnlyFans type site. So I don't push it. Like I don't put it. That's why I chose not to put FML After Dark on there because some of them are a little more sexually explicit. And so that's why I choose not to. I don't want to push any limits with Patreon. I love Patreon. They've always treated us nice. They always treated us well. And so I just don't push it with them. I know they're trying to be a little more I hate to use the word legit, but that is what they're trying to do.
Run a clean show.
Run a clean
and
show.
Leave the porn
So-
stuff to OnlyFans.
So again, we never
there's nothing wrong with
Yeah,
OnlyFans.
so we don't post porn, so it was never really an issue for us. But I just don't want to push the limit, and the fans understand that. I've explained that to them.
Oh, yeah.
So they know the diehard fans. They will have a Moment subscription and they'll have a Patreon subscription,
And some of our fans are super nice because some of them he'll, put it at $15 or whatever to rent the video, but it's a sliding scale, so they can choose to pay more, and some of them do just to help us out.
Yep. And some have accidentally sent us too much money.
Then we get.
I got a
I need a
$500.
refund.
I got $500 once for a video I was only charging
that's
$5
not right.
for, and I was like, well, I'm not going to say nothing. Maybe they wanted to donate that money.
Yeah.
Right.
And then sure enough, I got an email going, I didn't understand, blah, blah. And I was like,
He meant to donate 50.
yeah. So he still wanted to
Gotta
give us
take care of
more. And I took care of him. I was like, I get it.
So your platform with the most viewers is YouTube.
Yeah.
The Notebook Movies.
Notebook
one,
Movies on YouTube, we have 229,000 subscribers currently.
And platform you're making the most money on, is that still YouTube?
It varies, honestly. It's last, like, Christmas time, yes. Outside of Christmas time, it's probably Patreon.
Is that
Yeah.
Christmas because of the content that you're putting, or?
I know. and
More people watch.
More people watch, and their advertising rates go up during Christmas season. So between Halloween and Christmas is the best time to make money on YouTube.
Okay.
Because, that's when you'll make a lot of money because, they double up on their advertising. They charge more. More people are advertising on there. There's more options.
Okay,
Stuff
that
like
makes
that.
sense.
And then January hits, and it
Yeah.
and it plummets.
Really?
And then it'll start going up again. So that's why we fought for our YouTube channel, because we could have just said, because they never said you can't be on YouTube with your content. They said you can't be monetized.
Right.
So we could have just said, to heck with it. Do what we keep on doing, keep growing like we were growing, but just not make any money on it except for on the side with our hustling sites. And we probably could have done fine. But ultimately, we wanted that monetization on YouTube as well because it makes money all the time. People don't have to, it doesn't cost them anything.
Yeah.
There are a lot of fans who can't afford to support us anywhere else.
And they still get the content.
And they still get the content that they still like. And, they understand that, like, some of the toilet episodes, I went and I just blurred out, because, if they pull their pants down and you see side butt.
Yeah.
I never, I decided
the
just to be
side
safe
butt.
and sorry. I just went and blurted it out.
Yeah.
And some of the fans don't like that. I'm like, well, if you want to see the side butt, go rent the video here.
Right.
But if you fine with just seeing it and getting the story, then there you go. You still have it.
When they demonetize, it's per video or video?
No, it's a whole
The
channel.
whole channel.
It's a whole channel.
So if you guys were to get demonetized, it'd be
everything.
the whole channel until it's disputed.
Yeah.
And it takes a month.
And it takes a month to get it back. So that is what happened to us. That is what happened to us.
Right in the middle of Christmas, which is the money earning season.
Damn.
Yeah.
That was great.
Good timing.
Good
It was a
times.
great time. Oh, yeah.
So you guys had YouTube demonetize your channel and you fought for it back and got it?
Twice.
Wow.
Twice. Yeah.
The first
That is
time
the
he got
first
rid
time
of
I've
all
heard
the
that.
sex stuff, which
Yeah.
wasn't a lot, but mostly the implied nudity ones, and they were fine. And then the second time was this last time, and that's when he was like, okay, well, maybe it's the toilet ones.
Right.
So got rid of all the toilet
So I
ones.
guess,
And literally, you can't talk to anyone about this and say, what is it? You just have to figure it out, like you were saying.
if we were big enough
Bigger
and had like
channels.
millions of subscribers, then you get your own person at YouTube that handles
Right.
your account. And
Until
that would
then,
be
it's
nice.
figure it out.
Until
Yeah.
then, you
Yeah.
get
We still got some growing to do.
Wow.
so subscribe,
Yeah. Like and subscribe.
like and subscribe.
So we get our own YouTube person.
Where have you guys found the most success? Like, where have you gotten most subscribers? Just by posting and then the right tags, or like what's kind of the secret
It's
to
everything. It's,
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like
You've been very consistent about it through the years, so that's got to be huge.
Yeah, that helps.
consistency. And it is definitely helps, because if you make a video once a month, no one's going to remember you by the time they're very short attention span. And so I would say consistency and do what you want to do, and you're going to find an audience. I was given that advice years ago, and I find it to be very true. So make what you want to do, what you find entertaining, and an audience will find it. So and I do enjoy FML. We do enjoy it a lot. And as we've grown, you can see how the episodes have grown. Like when they started out, they were only 30 seconds long. And then they went up to 2 minutes and 3 minutes.
And you
some
can
of them
tell
now
the
are 4 and
difference in
5
the
minutes.
quality and what he's learned filmmaking wise
Oh yeah,
throughout the years too.
the stories are way more complicated now. Than they
The
used
camera
to be.
works better, the
We did
lighting's
one-
better,
We did
sound,
one for
everything.
Christmas where she played Krampus.
Yeah.
You know, we have a full Krampus costume.
I
and
painted it up.
I was gonna get some dude to play it, and then
I was like, no, I want to do it.
right, and then I was like, well, you know, blah blah blah. But then she tried on and the gloves didn't fit me. I wasn't gonna play it, but I was just trying it on, and the hands didn't fit me, and they fit her.
Little hands.
And then also I was like, well, wait a minute, maybe it'd be funny if Krampus is this little guy, you know. And so we did an episode with that. We're planning on doing way more with that next year. And
Yeah, we did some promo while we had snow and stuff because you never know how long you're gonna have snow nowadays. So we went out to the house that we're
That we
hoping to
found
buy for him to have, but they've got woods everywhere. So I went out there in the costume and I'm stomping through the woods and he's taking promo photos.
so we got
and stuff.
promos with that.
That was fun.
And then the episode we actually aired, but what I mean they're getting more complicated is like we do episodes now that's called Dank High Story. It's making fun of drunk history, but it's about pot.
Yeah, so I get
And
high
smoking.
and tell a story, and then our actors act out the story.
Reenact it.
Nice.
So we do stuff like that.
And then I recently wrote an episode that was inspired by Memento, where it was told backwards.
Yeah, so we're getting very creative with. Because
Like, if you're gonna make me do FML, then I'm gonna figure out how to make it entertaining for me after all these years.
Yeah, and then that's how I keep interested in it too, is because it evolves.
And again, those are
advances.
the ones that are more for us. They're not gonna get the thousands upon thousands of views, but we like them.
Exactly. And there are episodes out there that I look back on that I plainly don't like. You know, it happens. One of these days, I'm going to do a video where I'm going to say these are my worst episodes.
We're gonna blast ourselves.
Blast ourselves. You know, these are ones that are
We should
not
do.
my favorites.
Alex and I should do a things we hated FML edition.
I would love that. I'd be down for it because I could be a guest on there. I have things to say because our FMLs that are bad are never anything to do with the actors or anything. It has to do with writing, production, and stuff that were just poor and bad. And I learned from FML, especially back in the day, we would just.
Get drunk.
It started out as parties, and I would have everybody over to my apartment, and then we would just drink, and then had to have a list of the stories that we just printed. We just reenacted the ones on the website, and then people would pick them out. And the one that ended up, basically going viral, that's to this day, it was the second episode we ever did, and she just picked it out because she thought it was funny. It wasn't designed to be for a girl pooping or a guy pooping. It was it was somebody with diarrhea, and I said, "Who wants to do this one?" Because I thought it was funny, and this friend of mine said, "I'll do it," and I don't know. I think it's got like 8 million views or something now. It's like ridiculous.
Oh.
It's super simple, but whatever
it's super simple. It's like 30 seconds, but it's.
One of my
now
favorites,
it's the all-time king.
One of my favorites is it was actually probably hard because do you guys remember a few years ago they had that Jean-Claude Van Damme clip where you could put him into stuff.
Yeah.
He wrote an episode around
I
that.
had to use it.
Where basically I was bringing home my boyfriend to meet my dad, and my dad thought he was Jean-Claude Van Damme, and so we're
like
interacting with Van Damme.
Yes,
I love that episode.
It turned out really good. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I never really dealt with green screen at the time, but this footage was free to use, and there was a contest, I guess. But I wasn't interested in the contest. I just wanted to make an FML with Van Damme. And it
Personal satisfaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forced him to come up with stuff because I'll just write, like, especially for Dead or Sins. Like, one episode was the Halloween episode, and I wrote that a ghost appears, and he's like, well, how am I going to do that? I said, I'm the writer. That's on you to figure out.
Then I figured it out. And that's the thing is like now, and that's what I learned with the Dead or Sins is like a lot of times, if something needs to be done, I can figure it out. I can YouTube it. I can play around with it. I can figure out how to do almost anything. So it just,
Yep. He's even taken up graphic design because he made all of my book, 3 of my book covers.
Yeah, I made all but one of your book covers.
Yeah, Kyle did the other one.
And the one that Kyle did, I still had to do the text and everything around it. And I didn't know how to do that either. I just figured it out. And like her last book cover, when finally we got it and I got the actual copy in, I looked at it and I'm like, it's pretty damn good. Like, I did that. Like I did that. Like I don't know how to Photoshop. What the heck,
What are all the books about?
It's 2 separate series right now. There's a 3rd series coming out soon, but one is a mystery sci-fi series called the Andy Alcott Mystery Files, and then the other one's like a adventure fantasy reimagining of Alice in Wonderland called the Wonderlandian Chronicles. And so there's 2 books in each out right now, and I'm writing the 3rd Andy will be out in spring.
All right. They're on Amazon.
Yep.
Yep, and the Wonderlandian Chronicles is like she's created this whole world. Like she's created words, she's created a language, definitions of things. Like because her world works differently than ours, and it's if you like fantasy world building. And
because the Wonderland books are a little thicker and harder to read than the Andy books. They're written a little more simply.
Well, the Andy books take place in real life,
right?
So they're easier.
But
to understand.
the Wonderland books are like this thick, and then the Andy books are like that thick. So like, you'll get through Andy in a day. It'll take you a while with Wonderland.
The other ones are like Harry Potter.
And I'm talking about like this with small print too.
I was saying like a Lord of the Ring angle.
Yeah, her latest book, I tried putting it in hardcover, and they're like, it's too big.
Big.
It's too big. I was like, oh, all right.
It's all important. I can't edit it out, so.
Yeah, it is what it is. So.
And you're just a really big horror fan?
Oh God, yes, yeah, love horror.
Just always have been.
Oh yeah, my dad. When I was 4 years old, my dad showed me Halloween, the original, and loved it. Never looked back. And so that was kind of a thing that my dad bonded with us over. Was horror movies, and I just grew up demented, I guess.
Meanwhile, I wasn't allowed to watch horror movies, so I'll never forget when Friday the 13th Part 6 came out. I really wanted to see it. I saw the commercials all over TV and stuff. We weren't allowed to see it. We also didn't have the money to see it, but we definitely weren't allowed to see them. And so me and my brother just wrote our own, not knowing what a horror movie was about or what it did. We just drew our own. Well, this is what a horror movie is. Right. And I don't know. I was like 9 or 8 years old, and so it's funny. A slasher movie to a 9 or 8 year old who's never seen a slasher movie. They can fly. They can shoot lasers.
Why not?
Right. And that's what they were. They basically were these. They were these killers, I guess, who flew around town and shot lasers at people and killed them, and that to me was a slasher movie.
Meanwhile, my sister and I, the very first time we were able to see, because Halloween's our thing, because of our dad, it imprinted on me when I was young. So Halloween's my all-time favorite series, which is why that was my first slasher advocate. I had to defend Michael. But the very first one we were old enough to go out to the theater was because number 5 came out 88. So my sister was born that year. Yeah. So my sister was a year old. I was 4. That was it. So we went. 95 is when Halloween 6 came out, and my dad took us to the theater, and he was like, well, you guys look, whatever Disney movie was out, he's like, you guys want to go see that? And we're like, no, we want Halloween. And so we walk up to, and the ticket lady's like, oh, you guys here for whatever the Disney movie is? Like, no, Halloween. Like, I know what I like. Don't talk me out of it.
Yeah, so like her show Slasher Advocate, which is found on our Notebook TV channel, is like that to me. When she pitched that to me, like I was like, that's
never gonna work on our channel. We gotta make a new channel.
That's what launched the new channel, because she basically defends these slasher killers. It's called Defending the Indefensible. And when you watch it, and she writes all this out, it's not improvised or anything. And I, of course, edit it, try to keep it entertaining and clever and stuff. But
hey, the writing's clever. You add sight gags.
I add sight gags. I keep it entertaining for the ADD audience.
Also me.
And but I'm telling you, you'll never look at these movies the same way again. Yeah. Like she analyzes them in such a way that it's like, oh yeah, Michael's a victim. Son of a. And she just did it for Scream.
Yeah, for Billy and Stu, where I threw his mom under the bus. Well, but now that I'm gonna do one for the second one, so now I'm gonna have to throw Billy under the bus to defend his mom. So whatever. To whoever I'm defending in that episode.
What's amazing is that, so we're learning as we go too with this, because this is a brand new thing we haven't done. So we don't have a teleprompter or anything yet. So she has to learn the lines that she wrote and then record.
And I
it
use
a little
some big
bit at a
words there
time.
because I want to sound like I'm a prosecutor or a psychologist.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I use bigger words.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Sometimes
really
I'm like,
done.
who wrote this? Why am I doing this to myself? Oh yeah, I did this to myself.
Yep, I know. So we're looking into it. We're trying to get a teleprompter, and I found ones that work off tablets and stuff, and I think that would help the production a lot faster. Because
it takes place over a couple days. Because my brain, after a few paragraphs, like my brain just fries out, and you're not gonna get me.
I don't know how I can't remember shit, so I don't know how she does it. I really don't. Like, I'm one of those people that
Like I said, theater kid.
I'm one of those actors that can read a line and then immediately forget it.
Yeah,
you know, so
that would be me for sure.
which is why FML doesn't have a lot of memorization of
Right.
lines.
Yeah.
It's just suggestions.
Definitely improv.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way FML works is it's really simple. He comes up with a premise, and it's basically a story, and then it's up to them to act it out and to.
I'll guide them, and I'll tell them. Well, I think it should go something like this. I think it should be said something like this and this, and then I'll let them, you know. And sometimes they do exactly what I said. Other people like to put their own spin on it, their own twist, and some of the funniest stuff that's ever happened in an episode was improv and was not planned.
I like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's why I like doing it. So I've never changed it.
You mentioned The Office, like that's kind of part of the concept behind it, right?
We even did a couple of episodes inspired by The Office, and now I have a recurring character with my friend Jake, who I've known since I was like 14, and we started off as boyfriend girlfriend, and the gag was that I like dogs more than I like my boyfriend or whatever, and it's since developed over the years, and now we're married, and I treat him like shit, and the dogs are awesome, and so we've changed it. Instead of the regular FML, what we do is more like Modern Family, where he and I are on the couch telling the story, and then it cuts to the skit, and then we're acting in the skit.
And that's something that we've come to do with a lot of FMLs too, is we'll come up with different ways of doing them. Like one of my favorite things to do is rather than just the narration, you hear it, I'll have the actor like break the fourth wall and talk directly to the camera. And that works on some of them, you know, better than others. And some of them I find it more funny. And I loved it when I found out that Curb Your Enthusiasm is recorded basically the way we do FML. Like there's a very loose script and they know the points they have to get to, but it's all improv.
That's a great show.
Oh, it is a great show. And I love it when they start cracking up and they just leave it in there. Like, they're laughing at their own shit that they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and they just leave it in there because one, it feels natural, and two, everybody's aware of how the show is done, you know, and it's funny.
I like the variety you guys have and trying different things as far, you know, and different concepts, different subject topics.
Oh, yeah. Like,
For me, it's anything creative. I just like doing anything creative.
that's basically the thing is, you know, with FML is like you're, you know, we have the fans that only want to see the certain kind of content, but the fans who just appreciate the show, you know, you never know what you're going to get. We've had episodes that were like dead serious. We've had episodes that were sad. We've had episodes that were funny. We've had episodes that are romantic. We've had episodes
one of our Pride FMLs one year, the whole concept was that she was married to a guy, but she's really in love with girls. She's secretly gay, but it's too much pressure. And in the end, her FML moment is her girlfriend was cheating on her, and she now has to go back to her family. And so
it ended with her putting
we
her
only
ring back
use
on.
LGBT actors in those roles.
Yeah, and it ended with her putting her ring back because it was told in a way that you didn't know that. So it just starts with her coming back from her business trip and catching her girlfriend cheating on her, and then and they played this super realistic.
It was a real couple.
It was a real couple and everything. So they knew how to get angry with each other, and so she was getting in and chased her out of the car, and she's leaving, and I kept the camera on the whole time while she's driving from one location to the other, and then she gets to their house and you see her sitting there and she sighs and gets her tears out, cleans back up, puts her ring back on, and goes back in their house, and you find out she's got a whole family there. And like it was just one of those big mind-blowing things, you know. And thankfully that episode got a lot of views. Like I didn't think,
and a lot of people saying they related, and
I was very proud of that one, you know. And then it used to be a tradition, we haven't since 2020, but it used to be a tradition that on New Year's Eve we had a episode that ended with a positive note. You know, after a year of misery, we always like to end it on a happy
Imagine us
ending.
finding difficulty doing that after 2020.
Yeah.
You know?
It became a lot harder, but we'll get back to it eventually.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, I'll do episodes, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? This one's going to end with a cute note, or this one's going to be, you know. And some of those end up being some of my personal favorite episodes, you know. Like
And
the
me
ones that have heart.
joining actually helped him expand ideas because he did this awesome short called Flu Season. And it was about basically somebody going to the office with the flu, but it was about zombies.
Way before 2020. This was like in 2014.
Oh God, way before.
It was a zombie spoof before it was real.
Exactly. And the makeup is okay in it, but I'm a makeup art. I do special effects makeup. So since I've joined, he's like, okay, well, can you do this? I'm like, I'll figure it out. So we've been able to do a little bit more fun things.
Yeah, every once in a while, I had a script written after I met her to do Flu Season 2, and we were gonna do it.
Might be in bad taste now.
It might be, yeah. So I don't know if we're gonna do it anytime soon, but at one time I did because I wanted to do. Because my goal was they wanted to look like gory zombies, but in a funny office scenario. So I still would like to do that someday, but there was another short that I would love to bring back that I did that got me a little bit of attention. It was called Class Holes. And it was basically about these two guys who catcall at women, but very respectfully.
Yeah, in respectful ways.
Like some of the lines are like they're like talking to each other, and they see a girl walk by, and he's like, "Well, I'd like to take her to dinner." He's like, "And a movie," you know.
I want to respect the shit out of her.
Yeah, exactly. And to this day, my friends Brian and Danny, who played the parts beautifully, like they just owned those parts. We only did 2 of them, but they still call each other class holes back and forth on the internet and tag each other. And they've since both have families and everything now, so it's hard to get them together to bring it back.
Yeah.
But that was really fun. And she wrote a tampon commercial spoof we did one time. So once in a while, we'll just be like, hey, this is funny, let's just do it. And we'll do a skit.
If you had a favorite episode, what would you...
Of FML?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Okay, of all time, if I had to say, I'd say one of my personal favorites, and this is not, like a lot of times the ones that I'm going to say are my favorites are ones that I had such a good time filming that I laughed so hard at. But one of my personal favorites story-wise is a sentimental one, and it was one of our New Year's Eve ones, and it's based on a famous song that Dan Fogelberg sang. It was from the 70s, I think. And you hear it during the holidays a lot. It's called Same Old Langston. And it basically is a story about lost love. And this guy sees an old lover in a grocery store and goes and talks to her. And they end up sitting and drinking for a while and then reminiscing and realizing that, you know, maybe I shouldn't have walked away from her or whatever. You know, it's about how they're not happy with their lives. Maybe they could have been. And so it's basically, we just reenacted the lyrics is what we did. So then after that was made, and I really do love that episode. It was so cold when we filmed that year too. Like it was so freaking cold. Some of it was outside. A couple years later, I decided to set the footage to the actual song and make a little music video out of it. That's the one that actually has gone viral. And so every year around Christmas, I get a ton of comments from people who have discovered that video because there was no original music video for the song. You know, it was too old for that. And so they find it and they comment on it and they tell me the most personal stories in the comments, how they relate to the song and stuff. And it's weird because it's anonymous, I guess, and you can just say all this stuff and just be out there and be open. And I find that just fascinating. I love it. I share it every year, and I even had to update it because some of this stuff was bothering me editing wise, so I had to like re-edit it and update it for Patreon just because I just did it for me. But otherwise, one of my favorite episodes of all time is the ones that make me laugh the most. And there was one in season 1 that comes to mind where this girl gets on the elevator and she's texting and she asks the guy next to her to get the elevator for her and he's got no arms. But she didn't notice he didn't have any arms. So she's just texting away and he's like, oh, certainly, I would love to do that for you. And then he's trying to do it with his no arms purposely to make her feel bad, you know, and just makes her feel like absolute shit. This is my friend Steve by the way, that played this part. So freaking funny.
Little touch
Just
of dark
killed
humor.
it. Just dark
Right.
humor. Just absolute dark humor killed. And then at the very end, he's like, "Oh, that's right. I had no fucking arms." She's just like mortified. That one was really funny. There was another one that we did in the laundromat where my friend Nick, who's a really funny guy, and his job in the episode, it was his job. He's doing his laundry. And I had an apartment building at the time that had a laundromat downstairs. And so he's doing his laundry, and we'd go down there like midnight when no one was down there and film. And so he's doing his laundry, and then this girl walks in, and they start flirting with each other. And she's like, "Oh, this guy's really cool." And then she steps out for a cigarette or something, comes back, and she finds him stealing all over her clothes in her laundry. And I don't know what it was about it, but just him holding all his clothes and her bras on his head and everything. And I ruined so many shots. I just died every single shot. Take of it. I laughed so much that the other cast around was getting mad at me. They're like, "You gotta stop laughing at this."
Get it
Something
together.
about
Yeah,
different
and just his face as he's running down the hall afterwards with her clothes, just absolutely killed me. So there's been several like that are just, the one with, there was an episode that's not on YouTube anymore, and it's not anywhere right now because I haven't re-edited to put it back out. Because I try to remaster them. If they're going to get pulled off YouTube, I'm going to fix them before I put them somewhere else. And this episode was called Shock and Awe Shit. And it was about this girl who goes and take a shower, and while she's in the shower, her roommate comes home drunk as fuck, and she's got it coming out of both ends. And she goes and she, as she's on the toilet, she's got to throw up. So she gets up, throws up, and right as she opens the shower door, "Are you okay?" And it spatters all over her.
Okay, so that episode's funny. However, my favorite part of that episode is actually in the blooper reel because the girl, Trisha, is the girl in the shower, and she just, if you watch the blooper reel, it's just 10 minutes of her laughing. Like, she could not gather herself
She could
to
not
do it because she's just laughing so hard about the fact that we were going to be squirting, or he was going to be squirting chocolate.
I don't know what it was. It was kind of based on an idea that she had that was kind of something that sort of happened to her.
Yeah, because
and we
I think you
exaggerated.
even say in the blooper reel, like, "Trisha, this was your idea."
Yeah. Oh, I blamed her fully for it. And we had taken, what we ended up doing was we took pudding and corn and I don't remember something else and mixed it all up. And then I had this girl off camera, and as I was recording it, right, she opened it and she threw it at her, and just spattered on it. Well, I think we only got one take at that,
All right. Any of these based on a true story?
A lot. Several.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. One of these.
Not that one, hopefully.
There's
Not-
one where on New Year's I'm at a party and my crush is there or whatever, and I grab him to kiss him at midnight, and instead I throw up all over him, and that's slightly based on a true story in my own life. So
You have to exaggerate, in order to
oh
make
no,
it
I
funny.
threw up, just not on him.
Well, that's just the thing. But so you have to, that's another video idea that I thought about one of these days I'd like to do is kind of go over and tell the audience which ones are based on, because some of them are based on true stories that people have told me. A lot of them are like, "Hey, this happened to me." There's been several people over the years that I would call my muse because their life sucks so much that it inspires everyone else.
Great content.
Oh yeah, and I would just be like, "Dang!" They'd be like, "Hey, here's another one for you." And but there are
watching-
some that are based on my life too.
We were watching one where a girl was saying she was going to blow up the bathroom, and then it's like a
Call of Duty 3.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
police officer came in. That actually happened at like
That's
Home
based
Depot.
on a true story.
Yeah,
that one
Man, I
is.
blew that shit up.
Yep, did not happen to me or anybody else. It was a true story, but how can I not make that? Like that was just so freaking. I was like, this has to be. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it yet, but there's a story going around now about a woman who made a ton of money farting in jars.
And then she got sick.
Selling them, and then she got sick. And I'm like,
That's a
got-
must.
We've got to do that.
FML. I don't know how to do it, but I've got to make it an FML.
It'll come to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're gonna start new FMLs with a new character that he wrote for me, where basically it's my past self and my future self are fighting, and so like my past self is just a total dick to my future self. So
Yeah, so it's got-
it'll cut to future me going, "What the fuck is wrong with me?"
Yeah, like the first episode is she's getting drunk at a bar and people are like, "Don't get too drunk, get to work tomorrow." That's her future me to worry about. Then it cuts to future her and she's like, "Fuck you,
Miserable.
past me," and then it goes back and forth. And then in the second episode, I'm going to have the times kind of merge and they get to meet each other. And then after that, they start interacting with each other through who knows how, but they just can, and so it was going to come back and forth to future and past me, and so it's a complicated episode, but that's what we're doing now. We're trying to make things a little more interesting.
Yeah. That is something I liked about Matt and Kate's channel that they have going on, is the storyline that they work on, and like how in depth it is. Which I haven't watched too many of their episodes, to be honest, but as far as their industry in wrestling, it seems like they put a lot more time in the.
Yeah, you have to. You know, people on YouTube will, I'm sure, watch something that had no story or whatever. But if you give them that extra something that they don't even think they want,
and that's why we do have reoccurring characters that are popular with our fans. We'll put out a new episode with them in there. Like our friend Aaron has this character that's just the grossest guy, and he likes to sniff things and drink women's bathwater, and like I think he's kind of retired. I just don't think that, I don't know that he's relevant anymore, but he had a character that I do think it's funny, but where he was so gross that the first episode I think he was in, he's with his girlfriend and they're watching TV, and she gets up to go to the bathroom, and he watches her leave, and then he goes and sniffs the couch cushion she was sitting on. I don't know why, it just made him laugh, and it made every woman everywhere go, oh, right, and she comes back and finds him sniffing the cushion, you know. So it made everybody laugh so hard that we kept bringing him back, and it got worse and worse. And there was one, I don't know if you put it in the episode or not, or if it's just a blooper, but he was sitting we had a kiddie pool for his dog in his backyard, and Aaron was sitting in it for something. It's in it. Jax came up and drank out of it, because dogs will just drink out of anything. And Aaron ad-libbed the joke, I guess that is my dog.
Yeah, I think that's in the blooper reel. Yeah, I don't think that was in the episode, but it was in the blooper reel. Yeah,
but stuff like that. So we do recurring characters and
we try to, and which keeps it interesting for me too, is to have, I'm developing another character for her where it's a character who's a pothead, and when she smokes, the marijuana physically manifests next to her as a character, and like helps her, because I find when you smoke, it clears your mind, it helps you figure things out. So this is going to be a physical manifestation of that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's a lot more characters for me now, because I finally got to quit my other job. Like, this is all we both do now. For a while there, I was still working as well.
Yeah, when we started, so now she had 3 jobs.
It's like, okay, well, other actors can't make it. I've got Kris.
Right. I mean, and I love using
I don't mind.
Anyway.
I like acting.
Yeah, she's always been one of our top actors for sure.
I like being a character actor.
That is the YouTuber's dream, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Job, just do it.
Yeah, I mean,
like. Thing.
Yeah, like for me, I guess it just kind of like I held on to a little part-time job at a slot place for the longest time, just because they let me edit there.
And I was his manager,
and she was my manager, so I could get away with. I could,
I didn't
barely had to show up, and so
and you can work on your own shit.
Yeah, that's what I did.
That's where I wrote a couple of because I worked there for 6 years, so 2 or 3 of my books got written there. Yeah, they paid me to write.
Getting paid double, basically. But then eventually, once that went away after 2020, I was just kind of like, I guess I don't really need a job. I guess I'll just keep seeing how this goes, And then last year, she got fed up at her job, and I was like, I think we're doing enough money. You can
I just walked out. Like I wanted to hold on to my job through at least the end of the year to help them out and him, and then it just. Yeah. One night I just had enough, and I walked out. I made sure to stay out. I didn't clock out. Walked out, found the bar manager, and I was like, "So I won't be back tomorrow." Bye. Clocked out, because you got to quit while you're on the clock, like
Right. She's very proud of that.
It was a lot of bullshit that I just was done with.
Well, that's just
people don't treat kitchen staff right. They just don't.
The reason why I love the retail series so much, because I spent probably 20 years of my life working in some sort of factory retail. I never was the mindset, I think, for factory work. I needed something that was going to keep me interested.
Well,
you guys are way too creative.
My problem was I liked my job. I was a cook at a little bar and grill, and I liked my job because I got to be in the kitchen away from people, and and on downtime, if I had everything done, I could again be on my computer, and there's a lot of downtime because people go to the bar to drink, not eat. But I learned more about cooking, and I looked at it as another art form, and started doing, I really did like it. It was the people.
Well, it's just
it was the person that I just
thing.
couldn't deal with anymore.
You're better at finding positivity in jobs you can actually like the job. I found myself getting very hate filled too. The longer I worked in retail, and the longer like my last big retail job was I was a manager at Lowe's, and it got to the point where I knew I wasn't cut out for it anymore. And so when they went to lay off people, I basically volunteered to take I did an interview to keep my job, but I didn't care, and it showed.
It's not worth the mental health.
No, it just wasn't
in a lot
anymore.
of situations.
I was just like, fine, just lay me off.
I don't want to go back now that I've had like 3 or 4. It's been 3 or 4 months since I quit my job, and I'm like, I like being able to just do whatever we need to do when we want to do it.
That's what really sucks is so she quits her job, and then YouTube demonetizes
Right,
us,
that was the first time.
Immediately afterwards.
That was the first time I demonetized.
Right?
And I was like,
fuck my life.
Of course. The day.
you guys could make a whole episode.
I think it was like 2 days after I quit.
Let's do it.
2 days after I quit, they're like, by the way, one of your money sources gone.
Yeah. And I was like,
we'll make this work.
About that.
Good thing we both know how to be poor.
Right.
Oh, no.
Right. I'm telling you, the people who are going to survive the apocalypse are ones who are poor already.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And you know how to
Figure
be poor.
it out.
You can be poor again.
That's how you learn to scrap and just make shit happen.
That's right. You guys are from Rockford. I'm sure you guys know.
Oh, yeah.
You're late.
Absolutely. And if anyone survived 2020, they can make it through anything. That's
Right.
20 in business.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's very true.
I was gonna say I'm super about the retail joke factor. Like,
Right on.
there's nothing that I'm aware of that really like fully touches on it. Like, so
Well,
it's just so
Superstore,
open ended,
yeah.
and there's a lot of everybody who works retail has shit
The
to say
difference
about
is like, for instance,
Everybody.
Superstore, and it's an okay show. I've tried watching it. I've watched it a little bit.
What was it called?
It's called
Superstore. It was on
okay.
NBC.
Yeah, it's no longer on, but it was on for like 4 or 5 seasons. And again, it took place in retail. They had some retail jokes in there, but it mostly was a sitcom that The problem is a lot of these shows, the people love their jobs. And that's not the reality.
No.
The reality is they hate their jobs. They hate the people that come in the door. And that's what we touched on our show. Like our show, there was the retail employees got to fantasize about beating the crap out of customers. They got to talk back to the customers. They got to tell them to go fuck themselves.
Oh, it's so open-ended.
And so I'll send you links to the original retail.
I'm down.
Personally, I have more of a love-hate, like, we have some great customers, honestly, in the vape
Well,
industry.
yeah. Well, it's different when you own it.
Yeah. Yeah, but even just dealing with them, and then there's definitely some that are ridiculous and like,
Yep.
I don't want to say I hate people, but some of them, yeah.
That's when you work with the public. Yeah, anybody can walk through your door. And,
Right.
Yeah.
You should move that filter over a little bit. The pop filter.
Yeah.
Because you kept hitting it.
I know. You're gonna hit.
Now who's the wild gesture? In our podcast stuff, I get very animated and
She knocks over the props and stuff.
I'm a wild gesture. So this whole time I've been sitting here like, oh, I'm gonna keep my hands nice and neat.
Yeah, I find myself.
Yeah, you guys
hitting
are
this all the time.
professional as fuck at this shit. Like, I always have to squirm around, but you guys are like,
We've done this a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, during the Deadersons, we got interviewed by all the TV stations, the radio
everybody.
stations, every newspaper you can think about, and a lot of times it was them coming and sitting down with us. Like, I think it's still on our YouTube channel. We had a clip from channel 17 or 13 or whatever. They came to our house and just filmed and interviewed us. And
Was that the one where I was wearing the devil
devil
horns?
horns, yeah.
I wore devil horns on the news because they showed up for it was a Halloween,
It was Halloween,
and
yeah.
I wanted to be fancy.
they
so I
had it coming
sparkly
if they
devil
showed up
horns.
on
Yeah.
Halloween. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, we've been on the front page.
And you guys, it's the Deadersons.
Yep.
It's Halloween. Come on.
Yeah, the reporter, she's like, will you do my makeup? Because I did, we started with makeup artists, but I wound up doing like all the makeup every episode with a couple of people would come and help me make them green.
Well,
so.
you got so fast at it that it was just
Yeah.
easy.
But she's like, make me a Deaderson zombie. I was like, okay.
How many copies do you think you guys sold? It was DVDs.
Yeah.
No, we had DVDs.
We had
but
DVDs and we did
They
sell
were
them.
on YouTube. We did sell the DVDs, but I don't know. I don't remember honestly. Like we still have a box full of them.
Yeah. The DVDs were
That's what
part of a
happens if you get
promotional
DVDs no
thing we
matter
were
what.
doing.
Yeah,
We were raising money to go to Hollywood for the show.
Yeah. So there were definitely and people would buy them we had a little premiere and then people came in and buy them. So
And
a
then
lot
we
of
were
them
at a family video. You could rent it for a while.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Throughout
Yeah,
all
I
of
forgot
Northern
about
Illinois,
That's cool.
family
that.
videos
They
had.
actually paid us for it too. surprised. I just wanted to. I was like,
yeah, we had people go to family videos and be like, "Look, we found it," and take pictures and
what
stuff.
What a claim!
Yeah,
it was.
That was cool.
Right. That's what I mean. The Deadersons was very cool. Like we got to
show an episode on in Elgin every year for around Halloween. They do Nightmare on Elm Street or
Nightmare on something.
Yeah, that's Elm Street. And so we got to show there one year too. We got
a theater. The Deadersons aired on local and Comcast for a while too. Yep. I forget what channel.
We got to be interviewed by Comcast newsmakers.
Yeah,
I wore cat ears.
Yeah, she got to go on that, and which was distributed nationally. But she was Rockford. There was a station in Wisconsin, and there was a couple stations in, I think Streamwood was one.
Yeah.
Where they played our shows, and they would come up. I remember they would ask us, "When's season 2 coming out?" And I was like, I'm trying.
Well, we have half of it.
Yeah, we ended up finishing half of it, and so I gave them those. I don't think, as far as I know, they're not airing anymore.
I think they are because my grandma was watching them for a while.
They might still be just on. Yeah, they might still be on there.
But yeah, we got Butch Patrick to guest star. He's the original Eddie Munster from the original Addams Family TV show.
Yeah, that's
and he came.
On our show.
He was on our show. He played Grandpa for us.
He was real nice.
He was super nice because he was just in town. He was doing a con or something, and his wife got in touch with us, or we got in touch with his wife or something.
A friend of ours who did the circuit met him, the con circuit, because he had a show in Wisconsin, Dedger, who unfortunately recently passed away. But he introduced us to Butch, and then when Butch's wife found out what we did, and we had extended an opportunity to be on the show, she watched the show, and she apparently told him, "You have to do this."
I guess she's his manager.
Yeah,
so
and she was
he came out. He's like, "You've got an hour. Like, I have to be back in time to watch the Cubs game or something."
Yeah, something like that.
So he came out. He filmed for us. He signed stuff for us. Took pictures with the cast. Like it was really cool.
He basically said, "Here's my time free. You can do what you want with it."
He didn't charge us or anything.
No, he was
first time. Yeah,
he was great, and we still have him on social media and stuff.
Very cool.
But because the Deadersons was very Munsters like, it was very a tribute to those kind of shows, and so
I was like, Leave It to Beaver meets the Munsters.
Yeah, so he understood and loved it and loved the concept. And
why'd you guys stop through season 2?
We lost a lot of our actors. Like, everybody's moving away, and it was getting harder and harder to schedule. And I was working 2 jobs at the time. We were also filming Deadersons, so 2 full-time jobs. So
and we were trying to adapt as people would leave because they had better opportunities and bigger opportunities. But it got to the point where main cast members were leaving, and we're like, it was
getting harder to write around it.
Yeah, it was just time. Sure. I mean, we had
and we didn't make enough on it to. I mean, I think everyone got a one-time payment at the end of the first season, and then we weren't making enough to be like, hey, quit your job and come,
exactly.
You have to let them go where they go.
Yeah, and at least you guys didn't beat the dead horse and just really try to make it work.
Right. Exactly. I mean, in hindsight, I wish we could have finished out the storyline,
Yeah, because it was going somewhere, so.
That's okay. Other than that, like, again, like when we started that, and I've told her this, my thought was each episode was just going to be
a standalone.
Making fun of
but
old
I don't
sitcoms.
do that.
But it turned into this complex, almost soap opera-ish storyline. But it kept people watching. It kept people coming back.
Yeah, my friend Christina was very invested in one of the relationships.
Yeah, we had people invested in the relationships on there and invested in the characters. And yeah, it was fun.
She'd be like, when's the new one coming out?
Makes me kind of realize that we could do a sitcom, or a show that was
like proof of concept.
Yeah,
so we just look at that as a big old learning experience. We learned more about camera work. We learned more because even with that, we only did it for 2 years. You watch the first episode and you watch the last episode. We got completed, and you see a difference.
You saw a difference. Yeah.
So it's a growing experience. It's a learning experience. That's all it was.
That's like kind of seems to be with my limited experience with production in general. You just really have to dive into that stuff.
Yeah, and you really do. It's
how are you going to get a good look at somebody else's project if you're not working on your own stuff?
Yep.
You just got to beat it, put it out there, learn what you
have
need
to
do
be
better.
willing to learn to realize that what you made in the past is not always. A friend of mine who was a filmmaker that I looked up to when I first started, and he told me that, and I find this to be true, that if you can't look back at what you made last year and think it's horrible, you're doing something wrong.
Totally feel that.
So, And I think that's true with a lot of things.
Yeah, it's a good artist mentality.
Absolutely. Like
Yeah,
in the last year or so, I've been dabbling with producing, even because like Marco was saying, we had our buddy that was doing the editing process and kind of got us a little bit set up on, the tech end.
Yeah.
Some of the straightforward stuff or like essential stuff. And so I kind of took over the editing part, and I've been dabbling more with like audio production, but
that's some of the hardest stuff to do is
super
audio.
difficult.
If you can learn that and master that, man.
We're getting a little better, that's for sure. It's like you said, you play stuff back and you're like, ooh.
And you have the benefit of now too all the how-to YouTube videos. You want to learn to do anything, there's a YouTube video for it.
Yep.
I have learned stuff fixing my car on YouTube. I've learned stuff fixing editing on YouTube.
He had to put because I wasn't gonna crawl under my house because spiders. I would have let the pipes burst and the house get ruined. But he crawled under my house for me to put heat tape around my pipes before winter.
They kept freezing.
Yeah, and he had to look up on the YouTube how to.
I know how to do it. I Googled it. I was like, oh, okay.
If I had to go into there, the pipes could burst and my house is gone. It's fine. Like, I'm not going under there.
I'm definitely an artist and not a handyman. So I was like, okay, all right. That's how we do it.
I don't know what people did before YouTube, man.
Right.
I don't know how you figured out what you did.
Seriously.
I mean,
that's why people were getting electrocuted and shit more often back then.
Like I would think, except for maybe older people, but I would think that Geek Squad has to be feeling the hurt, because there's so much more people. If you know how to find it, you don't need that.
Like you said, older people. My mom still does.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Older people will keep them in business for a little
10
while.
years ago, if you were a tech genie or even just knew how to do basic recording and production
I spent 6 years
stuff,
working at CompUSA. I know about the computer stuff. But again, I learned a lot of my knowledge from computers by doing that, by working there. So.
Oh yeah.
I did have a question. I don't know exactly how this works, but say you have like a previous actor 5 years ago did something for you guys or with you guys, and they didn't feel comfortable with it now, and they asked you guys to pull it. You're not under no obligation to actually do that, right?
No, we're not under obligation to do it, but it depends on the circumstances. We did have an actor come to me, this was years ago, and the reason why she asked the video to be pulled was because she was going through a divorce, and her husband was using it against her, and for her kids. All of her acting, all of it, not just FML, all of her acting. Wow. So, of course, I pulled it for that.
Yeah.
And once it blew over and everything, I think by that time YouTube got all weird and everything because it was a naked one. It got pulled anyways, so like whatever. But no, for the most part, I wouldn't say that. We're not obligated, but I would say that it the circumstance. I would out of respect, I think for the actor, like. I think that it's just a respectful thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because sometimes, there was another circumstance, I won't name any names, but somebody approached me and she didn't want all of her FMLs pulled. It was just this one, and it was understandable why, but it was because her dad was in politics. And he was running for a state seat.
And they'll dig that shit up.
And she was like, I just can't be the reason.
I was on FML that one time, and my dad lost the damn.
I was like, I get it. Yeah. So I pulled that.
Yeah, that's also a valid excuse.
That's respectful.
Yeah,
that's very respectful.
And I think that's how you make it in the indie world. Is I think you have to treat people right.
Build relationships.
You have to build relationships. You have to listen to other people, and because FML is if
collaboration.
You come on, it's a very big collaboration. You come on here, I'm not the end all to end alls. She's not the end all to end alls. We have ideas and what the script should be, but if you have an idea, pitch it, say it. Maybe we'll use it.
And even our
scripted
scripted stuff, because I remember for the Deadersons, I told people I like words, so if you can figure out a way to say it that sounds more natural to you, please. And some of them would, and some of them were like, no, I want to stick to the script. And so it depends on the actor too.
Yeah, some actors they
need the script.
They need the script.
Like
they memorize the script, and that's what they want. Other ones are a little more like, well, I can't say it like this. Can I say it like this? And 9 times out of 10, we're like, fine.
As long as you get the idea across, and don't mess up their lines. That's all.
Exactly, and it's very, very, very rare that it requires more than that, and it would be because it's a plot point or something.
Right.
You have
you have to say
that's the joke, But a lot of times, and sometimes, if we have time, I'll even let them film their idea, and if I use it in editing, great. If not, it ends up as a blooper or behind the scenes thing or something. So there isn't ever, when you're working on this kind of budget, where you can't especially pay your actors, then I think it should be collaborative and they should have fun what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's the number one rule. And people have always told me they have fun on our sets, and that's why they keep doing it. We've got actors who work in Hollywood as well that come back and still, when they're in town, hey, you want to do an FML? And they'll come out and do an FML.
Yeah, our friend was just in, where was he? Syria?
Turkey.
No, Turkey.
A friend of ours was just in Turkey filming with Jason Statham for The Expendables 4.
Right.
And he got to play goon number 2.
Right, because he's a big guy.
He's a big guy. And he had a fight scene with Jason Statham.
Wow.
But yet, when he's in town, he's like, hey, I want to do an FML. You guys free this weekend?
Yeah, he's a super nice guy. Ricardo, he's a super nice guy.
Super nice guy. And
that's rad.
And that's what, most people that we don't use anymore.
We actually met him doing the Deadersons. He played a character.
Yeah,
that's how we met him.
I think so.
I was just thinking, how did we meet him?
I believe
he
it was
auditioned
for Deadersons.
he auditioned for Deadersons.
But most of the people that you see in FML that aren't doing it anymore, it's because they grew up and have their own life and all this kind of
families.
stuff. Very rarely any of them are like, well, we hate that person. We just, most of that, or they hate us or whatever. 9 out of 10 of them are just because they just moved on. And
how many actors do you think you guys have used through the years?
There is a video. I think the last time I counted it and kept up with it was when we hit 500 or 600 episodes. I think it was 500 episodes. And I used to do videos where I would put clips of every single person and thank them. Oops. And I know it was over 100. I want to say it was like 300, but I don't really remember to be positive because I can't remember. It was like, no, it wasn't that many. It was probably like 150, 100 something, but it was a lot. The videos got longer and longer and longer every time we did it, and it's still not totally up to date.
Yeah, and now you add in all our other stuff we do too. That's even more actors. Oh, yeah. Because some actors didn't do Deadersons and FML. They only did one or the other.
And some actors who did retail didn't do FML and so forth. And so there's more than the others, even more than that. So, yeah, I guess I don't know anymore. But definitely over 100, I know that.
Definitely be down to have you guys at the shop.
Let's do it.
Oh, yeah.
You guys could get some cool footage there.
I think it'd be great. And I mean, we're always looking for different houses to film in too. If you don't mind letting us use your house, and
absolutely,
your house looks gorgeous. Like that'd be great. We have to bring all our lights and everything in, and it's well, one of our actors, she's real young. She's like 20 or something, and her parents have to bring her because she doesn't like driving. And she going to school in New York, but when she's back, she also comes, and so her mom will bring her because she doesn't like driving. And I always end up sticking her mom in the skit too.
Yes. Yeah, if you saw it, she was in a recent one, the one where the girl crawls into the dog cage. It's a recent one.
That's her real mom. That's her real mom in it, and which is great because they have a good chemistry with each other. And like her mom isn't an actor, but she supports her daughter, and so she's like, fine, whatever, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And her daughter started her own YouTube channel, and I was watching it, and I saw her parents in that one too. And I was
she's a little cutie.
She's great. But the thing is, and then she invited us out there. Her before she went to school, one of the last things we filmed with her was we went to her parents' house, gorgeous house, like just out in the middle of nowhere, just fantastic house. And she's like, yeah, you can film here anytime you want. And I'm like, okay. But when we were there, it was because the girl's brother and sister-in-law were in town, and so for their birthday, she wanted them to be in an FML. And I was like, well, make sure they want to do it first.
Right.
I don't mind doing that as a gift, but make sure they want to do it first. Yeah. And they did. Turns out they were in advertising, so they knew how to act and everything, and they were hilarious in it. And her dad had like this dune buggy on their property, and I was like, can we put that in it? He's like, sure. And so I wrote a scene where the guy pulls up in this dune buggy. It was just fantastic. Just fun. And so she's like, yeah, anytime you want to come out, you can film. And I'm like, this would be a great place to film a horror movie.
Yeah. Use what you can.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So. And that for years, that's what we've always relied on is, I'm good friends with the general manager at District, so I have an open invitation to film there anytime I want. We used to sponsor our karaoke contest.
We send him judges.
Is that Billy?
Billy? Yeah, Bill. Yeah,
Marco knows him pretty well.
Okay, Billy and I go way back to the Fatties days, if you remember Fatties.
Yeah, I never went there. But
VIP Wednesdays.
Yeah, well, I used to go to Fatties every Wednesday, and with all my friends who were in FML and everything. So I would show up with all these girls, and I got known as being with my entourage and stuff. And or my harem, as some people
What's funny is we didn't even know each other back then, but I would go most Wednesdays too for Fatties VIP Wednesdays, and me and my friends were there, so we were probably there at the same time before we ever knew each other.
Probably.
You don't remember the guy with the harem?
No.
It's funny how like-minded people end up in the same places.
Yeah, exactly.
But still might not even run
Fatties
into
was
each
like
other.
the wild, wild west, man.
Oh,
like,
yeah, Fatties was...
Plus, I'm not a people person, so I would just sit up in the lounge area with
That's
my
usually what I
free
did,
drinks
though.
and
That's
just...
how I met. That's how I met my future roommate. Well, at the time, roommate. The one that was in the elevator video was I was just sitting there, and she was with her group, and I was with my group, and everyone else had left, and we were sitting there, and so we ended up talking about movies. Found out she was a movie fan, and invited her to film with me, and that was that.
Yeah, I always was like,
friends
I'll
ever
guard the
since.
table. You guys go dance. I'll guard the table with the drinks. So that's where you could find
Yeah, I
all
used
the
to get
drinks.
I didn't like it, but I used to get dragged on the dance floor because a lot of my friends were my friends have always been younger than I am because I just mentally am not the age I am, and but I was always used as the girl's bodyguard and stuff to keep the creeps away and stuff. So sometimes a guy would come up and dance with them, and I would like look at the girl, and they would give me a nod, yay or nay, to get rid of him or not. Because sometimes it was like, no, I like this guy. I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. Other times it was like, he's creepy, get rid of him. You know,
You gotta go about that.
Bounce about.
yeah. So the girls would have their dance circle, and I would just bounce him out, get rid of him. So
Wild Wild West.
exactly. Good times.
I think this is a pretty good spot.
Seems like it. Yeah, we
guys-
could go on forever. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like,
If you guys have any last stories, or you can do.
I'm sure I do, but off the top of my head,
Watch our stuff.
yeah,
Please.
You guys,
hit
you guys have
with
been
the final
awesome.
plugs.
yeah. I mean, I'll give you all the links to put in the description, but subscribe to our channels: Notebook Movies, Notebook TV. I'll give you if they want to rent some of the non-YouTube friendly stuff, I'll give you the link to that. Join our Patreon as well if you want to see behind the scenes stuff, or you just want to support local art.
Yep.
Sometimes some people support us and they don't watch any of the stuff that we do.
Go to Amazon, buy my books,
Yeah,
Wonderlandian Chronicles and Andy Alcott Mystery Files.
Yep, we'll give you links to that. Everything we do, we have Facebook, Twitter pages, all that stuff.
Sweet.
So I'm trying to get better at the Twitter thing.
Yeah, we're not good with the social media. We're working on it.
Yeah.
We're in the same boat.
I keep telling him whenever we get enough money to hire an employee, the first employee we're hiring is a social media manager.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's surprising how much time it takes to post it onto this channel and this channel and this and this, and it's like, wait, I gotta post here,
Right.
here. And
You guys made it where you are without doing all that, so it's not necessary, but it helps, right?
it is
It helps.
necessary, I
Yeah,
think, in this day and age, for sure. Like, I agree that I'm sure we be, pretty far, because none of our social media accounts are like huge followers. YouTube is the biggest thing we've got. So as far as our voice, YouTube is the biggest thing we've got. So yeah, I guess technically you're right.
And our voice is only slowly growing on the other one because it takes a while to get just to the $1,000 subscriber threshold, where you start getting some of the benefits from YouTube. So we're only at like 304 subscribers on our Notebook TV, but we just started and we're consistently putting stuff out. So you got to remember, he was doing it for 10 or more years to get to where he's at now. So
Absolutely.
keep at it. If you're out there and you've got a YouTube channel, just keep at it.
And that goes
Don't
for you
get
guys, too.
discouraged. Don't get discouraged by low subscriers, low counts.
Just keep doing what you're doing. If you're enjoying it and you're having fun doing it, just keep doing it. And who knows, if you have other ideas, throw it against the wall, see if it sticks.
But ultimately, you'd say listen to your audience, right?
To a degree.
Yeah, when you get your hits.
You got to be true to who you are as an artist and everything too.
If the audience has constructive criticism and everything, then yeah, sure. If they're,
give us more poop.
Right.
Then we'll be like, we're going to do a couple episodes without that. And you'll live with it.
Which is, just funny because you get the opposite reaction too. People are just discovering our channel because YouTube will recommend the most
And then they're
popular
like, what's
videos.
with all the
So people will comment, "Are all your videos about poop?" And I'm like, "No, it's just the most popular ones. Like you gotta actually go to the channel and look at the videos themselves, because YouTube, even though they say they hate it, they will just recommend the same ones over and over and over
I
again."
will say, when I searched you earlier today, I was showing a friend. I typed in Notebook movies, and the first one was movies poo.
Yep.
Yep.
It was the first search.
Yep.
There's something to this.
It's yep. And like I said, I definitely have embraced it to a degree, but as long as it still makes me laugh, and as long as I feel the stories are still funny and everything, then I'll still make them.
Not just poop for poop's sake.
Exactly. And I just now know that, okay, just gotta, like, we did one just recently, and it was really funny, and the girl accidentally sharts herself on a date, but we don't ever always just sound effects. So it's funny because then she's trying to go change her pants and hide it, but he pulls her into the kitchen. He wants to ask her to be his girlfriend, and he picks her up and sits her on the kitchen counter, and you hear a squish. And so it's just noises like that we're able to get away with, and everything, rather than show them on the toilet. It's like, okay, how are we going to adapt this?
I do like the sound effects.
The sound effects the sound effects make it, and it's funny, And you know what? Everybody can relate to a good poop joke.
All right.
Absolutely. I don't care who you are.
Timeless.
Everybody has an FML that involves poop.
Sure does. I don't care.
That's like max relatable content.
Yep.
As long as it's not just poop for poop's sake. I like that a lot.
Exactly.
That's a good closer.
Maybe that'll be one of our new shirts. Because we also have. We always forget to promote this too, but we do have
an apparel line.
Check out the merch.
Yeah, we do have merch. Yeah. We don't sell a lot of it, but once in a while.
Because we never talk about it.
No, we do. I know we came up with a mask that said FML on it. Like, how brilliant was that?
Oh, that's on.
And we never sold it.
No, we sold one. We sold one or two.
Well, we never
made the
commercial. I wanted us to make a commercial about it. I wanted to have I was going to do photo shoot with the girls wearing it and everything.
It's not too late. We'll be masked up for the next
Apparently. I know. Like I was telling her the other day, I was like, I stopped buying new masks and everything because I figured we were on the tail end of this thing.
Right. I told her, I was like, I got to find a new mask. I don't like any of mine now.
It's a fashion statement.
It is. Mm-hmm. That's how I went into it, and it made it way easier. Like plus now I can just growl at people and they'll never know.
Oh yeah, I can imagine working in retail with masks now. It'd be fantastic. I'd be telling people to fuck themselves all day long.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Don't have to fake smile anymore.
No, no way. That part would be great. I think having to wear the mask all day and work, I think would drive me absolutely nuts. And I feel for the people.
Oh, for sure. But it definitely keeps your face warm outside. So I'm all for that.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I was like, hey, my face doesn't hurt.
Thank you guys for being on.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, this was fun.
We'll do another one soon, or
we have more stories. So, I'm sure
we're talkers.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely down. I think we should do some stuff at the shop. I'd be down to do some FML shit, whatever you guys think is cool.
Yeah, afterwards, we'll make a plan. I'll come swing by your shop sometime, and we'll check it out and see if I get ideas.
Cool. Absolutely.
Thank you guys.
Sweet. All right. Bye, guys.